Welcome back to another one of my videos. As always, I find these stories that I read to you from different subreddits on the Reddit website. And I always leave a link in the description. So that way, instead of watching gameplay through the video, you can read along if you would like to. That said, let's get into the video. Clown that haunts me. It was Halloween around the late 90s, I think 98, 99, around that time frame. I was around 12 at the time, and after trick-or-treating around the block with a friend of mine, we decided to head down to the local bowling alley, given we had a few hours to kill before heading home. Since our bags were basically full to the brim with candy trick-or-treating at the rich folk area. We only headed out to the arcade section of the bowling alley, given we only had $20 in ones and quarters, and saw some friends from school, so we decided to hang around the arcade. One of our friends we saw there were showing us the new arcade cabinet that the bowling alley set up called Carnival. To give a bit of detail, it was sort of the run-of-the-mill shooter akin to House of the Dead, where it was all 3D rendered like a movie, and you used these cheap plastic-looking guns to shoot around the zombies and shit. But something that seemed to really mess with me while I waited my turn was the look of the clown on the cabinet art. It was a weird-looking clown with an almost inhuman-looking jaw, with canines coming out of a grave with a kitchen knife. I'm not sure if he was in the game, given kept getting our asses handed to us by the boss, Hambone. For the most part, I ignored the art of fucking with me, given my friend was shitting himself trying to kill the boss. As we finished playing at the arcade, we headed to the public park where our parents planned on picking us up since the park was the safest area in town. Given it was the rich neighborhood and nobody is dumb enough to go there when it comes to robbing, so many parents at the time would use that spot to pick their kids up during the dark. But after my friend's mom picked him up and gave my farewells, I noticed an odd silhouette near a lamppost. It sort of resembled a dwarf around there, but something about its shape just seemed odd. It looked like it was purposely staying away from the post lighting its figure, but you could sort of tell how it looked. One thing that oddly stood out about it was the way its neck had some sort of ring thing people used in the 15th century, and it had a cone on its side, being slightly lighted by the lamppost. Obviously, now I sure as hell know what it was, but at the time I just assumed it was some kid or something. Maybe he got lost, but I wasn't going to go investigate. But as I waited longer, I looked anxiously at my watch as I glanced at the figure, noticing it shuffling its foot a bit closer to my location. At that point, it began to just be a game of cat and mouse as it toyed with me even more. But call it a blessing of God, but my mom finally came as I frantically got on inside the car and glanced back to see the figure. Its compact body shuffled uncomfortably out of sight, as my mom told me what was wrong given my behavior. I told her it was a lost dog or something, given she's not gonna believe a fucking clown was stalking me from afar. After that day, I sort of brushed it off, never really acknowledging it until a few years later. It was my first year of high school when I went to a buddy of mine's house for a party where I saw the figure again. I don't remember this one as much, given I was high on pot, but I was sitting on the couch watching TV, when a friend asked me to get a beer can from the outside porch. But as I opened the front door and went over to the cooler, I noticed the figure near a lamppost again. Given my state, I assumed it would be some trick-or-treater, but I inspected the figure. The memory came to light. I'll admit that what I did next wasn't exactly PC given the time frame and moment, but after looking at it, I told my friend that some asshole dwarf is trying to gawk at me or something. As I threw a beer at it, not even flinching an inch. The mix of weed and a bit of alcohol in my system made me freak out / angered me at the figure. My friend looked up at me and told me where the figure was as I pointed in front of me. You're really a fucking asshole, you know that? I was confused about what he meant by that as I told him if he didn't see the figure in front of me. But he just said I was full of shit and told me to go freak out with the chicks or something. As I looked back at the figure in the confusion, its contorted body moved slowly into the light of the lamppost, showing its big egg-white eyes at its big jaw, as it moved its head back and forth as if it was looking at me, mocking me. I don't remember much from that Halloween, but I probably thought it was part of the experience, given it was my second time doing weed. But the last time that the clown appeared to me is the one that horrifies me the most. This happened more recently around 2019. At this point, I'm married and already have a daughter of mine as I took her to trick or treat. I showed her the best routes to get bigger candies and sort of see the huge difference Halloween is today compared to my time. But after getting and setting the bags on the kitchen table, I plopped myself down to the television and watched whatever was on, as my daughter was drawing on the floor with her crayons and paper. I asked her, "What you drawing there, kiddo?" "My new friend." I asked her if I could check her Picasso out, to which she happily did. But as I looked at the drawing, my heart felt like it stopped, my chest feeling like a train hit with all of its force. What she drew, like the clown from the carnival cabinet, and its batshit beady eyes looked like the day I saw it during my porch. But instead of looking out from the porch, I locked it up and closed the windows and put on the covers. I wasn't going to let that son of a bitch mock me again, and didn't. So far, my Halloweens were more of me having dread of my daughter's safety than anything. I don't understand how this thing managed to exist. Hell, why did it pick a fucking clown from an arcade game that nobody under 30 remembers? None of this makes any sense. What does it want from me? Why does it mock me? If you liked that video, then like the video. If you're going to bed soon, sweet dreams. And if you have a full day ahead of you, I hope it goes well. Thank you for taking your time to spend on watching one of my videos on my channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.